Hello and welcome to 20 Lore Pro. We're here today at Charlie's Collectible Show's Lorcana 10K here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. We have two amazing players here. No, I'm not, known as Kindle versus Andrew. And I'm your announcer today, SirAshtown. Join with me is Hal. How are you doing?
Doing good. We had a great first round, couple mirror matches, Ruby Amethyst, and then mirror match of the bad guy of the format, the Emerald Steel Bucky Diablo deck. But I'm really excited to watch this matchup. If you're not part of the 20 Lore Pro community on Discord, what are you doing? You need to be in there. There's so many different threads with, I'm talking thousands of messages and deck lists and strategy, and you can find any archetype that you're looking for, jump in there and go all the way to the top from the beginning of the format and just see how people have gotten to the list they're on today. I've been following NOIMNOT's thread since he really set off with the original Ruby Amethyst bounce from set 2, then set 3, and set 4. And final props I'll say to him right now, I copied his exact list that he posted online for the set 3 set champs for those Rockstar Stitches. His exact 60, took it to my locals, won a Rockstar Stitch myself. But I'm excited to see this matchup. We've got Ruby Amethyst versus the Sapphire Steel, piloted by Andrew Howard. And it's funny, so I've been talking to a lot of different people, a lot of big players in the game, and from Sapphire Steel side, they all say that they're favored in this matchup, and all the players on the Ruby Amethyst side say that they're favored in this matchup, which usually means it's a really close game, but I'm excited to get this settled once and for all.
And it's great to see Kindle, also known as No, I'm Not, just here piloting this deck. We're really going to get to see the power of Ruby Amethyst and the matchup between Sapphire Steel. This will be a really great showing of these two decks and how they compete against each other.
You know, if I were playing in this event today, I would have a tough time actually choosing between these two decks. These are the two decks that I've been practicing with and piloting the most of the set 4 Ursula's Return metagame. I love both of these decks. They both pilot very differently. Sapphire Steel sometimes feeling kind of aggressive with the Smee start and getting that early quest followed into like Whole New World, a bunch of ramp, bunch of removal, giant Tinkerbell, grab your swords, all doing a lot of work against these Bucky Diablo lists. But the start from Ruby Amethyst, especially on the play, just like we saw in round 1, you can go that 1-drop into that Flynn Frenemy, into the Sisu, start getting the passive lore, into Queen's Castle, just one of the more powerful starts in this meta right now. Other than maybe the like turn 1 Diablo, turn 2 Bucky Shift Diablo line, it's probably the second most powerful start in the game right now.
And I have a feeling that we're going to see a lot of drawing from these two decks. We're already seeing it here from Kindle. We're seeing it here from Andrew. Flavor Sham showing why he's so strong and well played. Once you have items on the board, you're able to just gain so many resources off of him. No, I'm not playing Rabbits, playing Frenzy on the other side, Queen's Castles, like you're saying, Hal. Able to gain as much resources as he can to try to get stabilization into the game.
Yeah, and once again, we're coming to you live from Charlie's Collectible Show in Stone Mountain, Georgia. Insane venue. I'm having a blast here. There's so many cool vendors, so much cool stuff to see here. The gas station size convenience store inside here with all the crazy cool snacks I still have yet to go check out. Yeah, tell us a little bit more about Charlie's Collectible Show.
Yeah, Charlie's Collectible Show is a passionate community celebrating fandoms every Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday, featuring anime, toys, comics, video games, TCGs, and many more. It's almost like having a little mini convention every weekend.
Yeah, and if you do decide to make the trip out here, it's less than an hour trip from here, from the Atlanta airport. We took a little like half-hour train ride, Uber like 5-10 minutes past that to finish getting here, and it's really not a bad trip once you fly into Atlanta.
And we appreciate them allowing 20 Lore Pro to come and join them today here for their Lorcana 10K. We have over 164 players here today competing for the grand prize. We'll also be doing a top 8 match tomorrow for you to watch here on stream, and we'll also be streaming after that their Lorcana 2K on Sunday.
And taking a look at this start, we're about into the mid game here. Normally, Ruby Amethyst at this point in the game, especially against the Sapphire Steel, is wanting to start running away with the game with a higher lore count once the Sapphire Steel deck starts getting all of that ramp going. I mean, Andrew had the start that they want, right? You've got some ramp, you've got Fishbone Quill, you've got Flavor Sham in play. We saw one of the steel popsicles, one of those 8 popsicles. We just call them all popsicles, basically. Really got that going. While NOIMNOT's they've got a Cecil in play. They've got a Rabbit. Now we see a Queen's Castle. That may be something that will give Andrew some trouble. And I did see a Be Prepared that could be a possible reset here in a few turns if Andrew starts getting that board state set up. But yeah, this is like we said at the beginning. It's going to be a really close game.
The thing about Ruby Amethyst that I really enjoy is the fact that they have a really strong panic button. Okay, the game's getting away from me. I need to reset. Be prepared. I'm not prepared. You need to be prepared.
And I love the move of the Rabbit into the castle. You would, if you're gonna sway your opponent's decisions on what character of yours they're going to take out. You'd rather it not be your Sisu. You'd rather it not be your Broom. You'd rather get that extra card off of the Broom. But if they end up targeting the Rabbit with a removal spell, you're going to get to draw that extra card anyway. But I know we saw a Giant Tinkerbell in Andrew's hand. Not sure what else they've got so far. Once you start getting close to that 8, 9, 10 lore, or ink on the Sapphire Steel side, usually it's an okay time to go ahead and take out the Fishbone Quill with the Flavor Sham. We see Andrew go with a Grab Your Swords. Start getting some damage counters on some of NOIMNOT's characters. It does clear up one of the Brooms.
Really great match that we're seeing here between Andrew and NOIMNOT. Really great competitive play. We're going to head on over to our game 2 to see what's going on over there. This is our second match here at today's Lorcana 10K at Charlie's Collectible show. It looks like we have a Amber Ruby versus a Amber Steel. Towelman versus Ron.
Yeah, so this is super interesting. Whoa. And yes, we've got two kind of just unknown decks here. I don't know if Ron is on particularly a Steel Song deck, so it was just a Ruby, or sorry, an Amber Steel deck. But Towelman Purple, he did show me his deck list before this round and has a very interesting build here, something he's cooked up on his own. And it's kind of it's an Amber Ruby locations based deck. And you see that you've got 3 locations in play. You've got 2 RLS Legacies, and it looks like also is a Tiana's Palace. And then you've got the Mother Gothel there with the 3 damage counters, which is almost assuredly means that Towelman plays Rapunzel as well as a card draw engine.
Yeah, this is you talk about something that many players may not be expecting right now: locations, and not just 1 or 2, but a lot of them.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot for Ron to have to deal with. Now, the Tiana's Palace only getting 1 lore a turn, but 2 each on the RLS Legacies. That's 5 lore a turn, and he's already at 16 lore.
A lot of times, these characters are able to challenge and take out 1 location, even double attacking into 1, but 3 of them in play, that seems like quite a bit to try to overcome quickly before the match wraps up.
Oh my goodness, and Ron has got one of the new cards from Ursula's Return, the Mob Song that he's kind of flashing there in his hand, thinking about considering playing. It's the Steel Sing Together song that costs 10, and it's not inkable. Definitely not something you want to just pay a hard 10 ink for, but you use your Sing Together. It deals 3 damage up to 3 chosen characters, and conveniently, and or locations.
Talk about a Sing Together song. You're really going to need that Ariel to help sing that, because golly.
Yeah, and Ariel being one of the new cards from the new set as well, the Sonic Warrior. Unfortunately, that one cannot direct 3 damage to locations, but it could go ahead and finish off this Mother Gothel on Towelman's side as well. And then we see the cards. I don't even know the full name of that, but it's a 5-cost 5/5 that quests for 2. What? Let's see if we can find that one. It's the Heart card. It's a 5-cost Ruby character.
Here we go.
Yeah, there it is.
Card Soldiers.
Card Soldiers full deck. 5-cost 5/5 inkable that quests for 2. Interesting choice. I mean, a 5/5 is a huge body in this metagame right now, and quest for 2, especially if you get it on like an RLS Legacy to give it evasive, get it on Tiana's Palace where it just can't be challenged at all. There's just a lot of crazy lore generators on Towelman Purple side. And it looks like he is going to go ahead and take game 1. Oh man, that is exciting. I hope we see more from both these players throughout the weekend. But we'll go ahead and jump back over to our main feature match and take a look at the Sapphire Steel versus Ruby Amethyst.
What a unique list that Towelman looks like he has. That'll be really great to see, hopefully here in the future.
Yeah, I talked to him a little bit about that in between rounds, and he was really happy with how his brew's been performing. And it's something to note. Two of the three challenges were kind of taken down so far that we've seen have been taken down by unknown decks. We saw the first challenge in Atlanta was taken down by that yellow purple like Perdita bounce deck, and with the Fairy Godmother, just a lot of shenanigans going on. It's a really fun deck from set 3 that people weren't really expecting. And then Frank Carson taking down the other challenge. Now, it wasn't a Steel song list, but it was more of his take on it was a very aggressive build featuring Piglet and just ways to gain lore a lot quicker. Still being a Steel song deck was still kind of just his own like homebrew take on it. We'll see them. No, I'm not. And Andrew Howard shuffling up for game 2. The Sapphire Steel deck is going to be on the play this game. I think the play is actually going to be a big deal in this matchup. When you play best of 3, and that's probably why both sides of the spectrum in this matchup feel like they're favored. It's probably pretty heavily favored for whoever's on the play. And I mean, the power level of this Ruby Amethyst deck on the play is just absurd. But we'll see if Sapphire Steel can get the edge game 2, since they will be going first.
We saw NOIMNOT clearly in the game 1 with that green tick over there. Really, congratulations to him, at least on the first game. Hopefully here we can see with the round 1. We just want to give a quick shout out to some of our sponsors here for today's event at Charlie's Collectible Shows, Lorcana 10K. We want to thank Nexus so much for really helping us with the audio and the video, being a part of the production team. Nexus is a gaming venue located in Waco, Texas. Nexus offers esports, TCG, and dining, and is an elite gaming hangout to build your local gaming community. We want to thank Diamond Ink Apparel, who did all the artwork for today's tournament that you see on those playmats that are sitting here in the feature match. Check out Diamond Ink Apparel, where you can find the latest in art for any of your playmats.
These playmats are they're so sick. They're the nice, stitched, thick, quality playmats. They've got the little foil star there in the middle of the 20 Lore Pro logo. This is the playmat I'm using right now. I love this playmat. Love repping 20 Lore Pro. Man, this is just a sick playmat.
And this playmat is the first time that y'all are seeing it. This has not been used before. This isn't available on the website. This was brand new for Charlie's Collectible Shows 10K. That diamond in the 20 for the 20 Lore Pro symbol is a foiled rainbow edition gold, not quite sticker, but it's on the mat, and it just looks so amazing.
All right, getting started here on game 2. Andrew Howard's got the start that he wants. He's got turn 1 ink into that Fortisphere. I believe I did see a 1 jump ahead too. And I think a couple fishbones. So we see 1 fishbone getting ink. Didn't have the 1 jump ahead, so goes with the Smee. Smee is going to be able. Oh, they did have the 1 jump ahead. That's super interesting. They decided to go with the Smee instead of the 1 jump ahead on turn 2, meaning that they didn't necessarily need to get to 4 on 3. We'll see if the Smee ends up singing 1 jump ahead here, or if they just end up questing. They may just like play the fishbone and then ink the 1 jump ahead with the fishbone activated ability.
It almost looks like he drew a second one. I could be mistaken.
Yeah, the Smee is going to sing. Did play they're going heavy on the ramp. Played the fishbone, sung the 1 jump, and double inked this turn. So just trying to get as much ink as quickly as possible. But it looks like NOIMNOT didn't have a 1 drop or a 2 drop, which is that's really good news from the Sapphire Steel deck. Does have the turn 3 Sisu, which is a nice threat. It's just not as scary when you don't have that turn 2 Flynn frenemy. So we see, we've got a popsicle. I believe I did see a flavor sham as well in Andrew's hand. Gonna go with the popsicle first. See what you draw there. See a Tamatoa in hand. Lucky, oh man, I think 2 lucky dimes, which should be coming down possibly as quickly as next turn.
Wow, that might add up as to why he's trying to ramp so hard so quickly with the opening hand he had. We could see really just trying to get up as much ink as he possibly can. And no, I'm not here being behind. Just having that Sisu on the board with only the 3 ink here really is tough when you don't have those early plays to try to get in some of your early game action.
So he does have the Brawl for the Flavor Sham, and I saw actually 2 copies of Be Prepared in hand, as well as a Be King Undisputed. If if NOIMNOT's able to hold on and the Sapphire Steel player doesn't have something like Holy World, those Be Prepareds may end up doing a lot of work, especially if you can hold on to the Be King Undisputed for like a post Be Prepared play as well. Looks like a Rabbit and a Madame Medusa in hand as well. But passing back over to the Sapphire Steel player, we're in Tamatoa and Dime range, just about.
Interestingly enough, I saw NOIMNOT ink a Maleficent Sorceress, meaning that he is on that build. So he is now a fan of that Maleficent. And here's that Tamatoa coming onto the board now with having 8 ink available to play him.
Yeah, and he's going to be able to slam the Lucky Dime next turn too, which may just end up running away with the game. But NOIMNOT's going to have a really, really nice play here. This Cece is going to be able to finish off the Smee, and then the Be King Undisputed is going to force them to sacrifice or banish the Tamatoa because it's the only remaining character that that's left on board.
Yeah, talk about a great, I mean, if not the best in this situation, follow-up play that you need before that Lucky Dime hits the board.
Yeah, Be King Undisputed just such a powerful card in this matchup because a lot of the times the Sapphire Steel players don't really go wide on board, especially when you get past those early turns. Like you've already taken care of like if they have Captain Hook, if they have Smee, everything past that is just big hitters. You got Tamatoa, even though you're fine with hitting a Flavor Sham, it's a nice clean answer to the ward Cogsworth. Yeah, they have a lot of resilient threats that are hard to deal with, but they usually only have like 1 or 2 in play at a time. So that's where Be King Undisputed really shines in the matchup. We see a Rabbit. Oh man, that's finding a third copy of Be Prepared, and no, I'm not having to ink a Queen's Castle. We've got the 3 Be Prepared in hand that are non-inkable, and we know that they still have the Madame Medusa as well.
Man, like Cogsworth here, having ward, so it is protected, but goodness, really open in this case to any Lady Tremaines that may hit the board.
Yeah, it's funny. See if the Sapphire Steel player decides to go with the Lucky Diamond. I think no. They did have another Tamatoa. Okay, wow. So that's a huge play. But no, I'm not sitting on 6 ink. They do need to draw a 7th inkable. But it'll be a great time to play one of those Be Prepared. And they do. They draw the Flynn Frenemy. So yep, quest out for 3, ink the Flynn. Be Prepared is a great play to deal with these 2 just enormous threats that are otherwise very difficult for Ruby Amethyst to deal with.
Wow, what a nice sign to Be Prepared from NOIMNOT.
Now on an empty board with no pressure. No, I'm not at 7 lore. Quite a good distance between the lore values, but it may be time just to play the Lucky Dime, especially if there's nothing else to do this turn. Lucky Dime, a great play if you take a turn off. There's no pressure in play. And no, I'm not got 2 more Be Prepared, a Madame Medusa, but they did draw the 3-drop Maleficent. Oh, they had another Rabbit as well. So the Maleficent and the Rabbit, 2 threats you can get into play, and then refill a little bit. Up, ekes a Maui and goes with the broom. So all the cards in play just replacing themselves. It's basically no cost to just get these down and see what Andrew has. Now, if Andrew can get a big threat in play to start hitting with this Lucky Dime, the 3rd Tamatoa, and that's going to be a huge lore swing here, gaining 5.
It's been impressive seeing NOIMNOT go from the beginning not having a very good board state, at least at the beginning, not very well established, to now he's got all the ink he needs. Now he's like coming back, really.
Yeah.
And just seeing this Tamatoa, a 3rd one on Andrew's side of the board, really just fighting every bit of the way that he can.
So funny enough, NOIMNOT doesn't have a clean answer to this Tamatoa. I think we're going to have to see quest out for 3 and then just Be Prepared again, because you cannot afford for this Tamatoa to start gaining, like, next turn it could potentially gain like 10 lore if he decides to quest with it, and definitely going to end up activating the Lucky Dime on it. But yeah, that's what we see. The Be Prepared cleans it up again, inks a Fox. And NOIMNOT's hand it's not great after that next reset. We do have a Madame Medusa and another Be Prepared, but Andrew doesn't have anything to do on their turn at all.
Andrew just left top decking here, but honestly, that Tamatoa, the 3rd one, what a great draw that he had in play. But we'll see if Andrew can't find a way to either find some popsicles or fortifies to try to draw more to get back in.
Yeah, and here's what we were kind of talking about last round. Maui just being the biggest thing in play, and nothing to rush into, but comboed with that Flynn Frenemy. If Andrew doesn't have an answer for either, it's just going to be a 3 free lore. And yeah, Andrew just has a Smee. Oh, okay. Well, he does have the Along Came Zeus to take out the Maui, so this me will be the biggest power value in play, so the frenemy is not going to trigger on NOIMNOT's turn.
Goodness, Along Came Zeus, still such a strong card, dealing so much damage to any of the characters that it finds its lightning bolt on.
And so NOIMNOT finally finds a use for that Madame Medusa. Has a turn of box followers, Flynn getting in there for one. Andrew doesn't have any characters in play, low on cards in hand. NOIMNOT. Basically a turn away from getting just a dangerous amount of lore, but Andrew does top deck the Fire the Cannons to take out the Flynn, but no other board presence. So NOIMNOT's going to get to just start questing away with these characters, and still has that third Be Prepared in hand and a Sisu as well. Oh my goodness. Well, decides to quest with the Chernobox followers, draws an extra card, finds a Queen's Castle. That's going to be a pretty devastating card on this empty side of the board for Andrew.
We're just going to see so many free lore, but also the ability to draw twice at his upkeep, in addition to his normal card for turn. No, I'm not really getting a lot of value here out of this Queen's Castle.
Andrew top decks the Grandma Tala. With its ability comes into play, you basically get to develop your brain and then finds a Flavor Sham, banish one of these one-drop items, draw a couple more cards. But if there is no interaction, NOIMNOT's potentially can gain 5 lore, draw 2 extra cards to go to 18, which we all know is the just mega danger zone potential for GOAT just to close it out.
It's like, no, I'm not double checking to make sure that he has everything right. Maybe potentially figuring out if he's got it here very soon.
Yeah, with Andrew being at 10, pretty much that Lucky Dime's not enough of a threat to close out the game in one turn with what Andrew's got in play. And yeah, the unchecked Queen's Castle just doing so much work here, drawing 2 extra cards, 3 total for the turn.
No, I'm not up to 15.
Yeah. Not a lot left. No, I'm not. Now he finds a snake. So now if we find a GOAT, the game is all but over.
And this Sisu, like we were saying earlier, this 3-drop, able to quest for 2.
Oh, yeah. And resetting the snake for the Madame Medusa, taking out the Flavor Sham, just really constricting Andrew's options for top decks here. Did you like that? Snake constricting? Okay.
That was a great way to make sure that Andrew cannot find any outs. Maybe a 4th Yamato with a Lucky Dime. I mean, leaving him no way to get at least more card advantage and resources.
And Andrew looking at a Grab Your Swords, a Giant Tinkerbell, and another Along Came Zeus. With NOIMNOT at such a high lore value, I don't think this is going to be enough. I don't know if Andrew's even going to get to see another turn with those cards in hand. See what Andrew decides to go with here. We're going to start it off with a Zeus, deal some damage, and then Grandma Tall's going to finish off the Queen's Castle. But there's still 4 lores worth of characters in play on NOIMNOT's side. Going to go with the Giant Tinkerbell, which does not remove any characters, but spreads a little bit of damage.
See if NOIMNOT with questing maybe possibly has a GOAT.
We see a rabbit in hand and one other card that it's still that 3rd Be Prepared. And that's going to do it. NOIMNOT takes the match 2 games to 3. Settling that debate a little bit between the Ruby Amethyst and the Sapphire Steel player. Just one match isn't enough information to say one way or the other. But I mean, that was a pretty one-sided match. It feels like from the Ruby Amethyst side.
It was just so impressive seeing NOIMNOT really play, I'd say, a slower pace in this second game to get the round and able to round it out into the higher curve cards. Here we are going into our second feature match, Towelman versus Ron. Let's see where they're at here on the board.
Yeah, enough of these tier 1 decks. Let's get back to these crazy homebrews. This is what I want to see. I want to see somebody break the metagame wide open here. Yeah, Towelman's got the Sisu and the cards in play. So, I mean, that's 4 lore a turn. We saw Ron play a Bare Necessities, take a look, gets to take 1 location out of his Towelman's hand, but Towelman's got a full grip of cards over there. So it looks like Talman actually started this game with a turn 2 Mother Gothel and turn 3 played just in time to put a Rapunzel into play. So just in time, it's an action from set 1. It's 3 cost Amber, non-inkable, but for 3 ink, it lets you put a 5 cost or less character into play for free.
It's a card that can be very scary when you don't know what's coming next and you know it's big. And in this case, the Rapunzel drawing, that's pretty big.
When you see from the other side, the opposing side, you see a turn 2 Mother Gothel, you're like, okay, I have 2 turns to deal with this Mother Gothel before this Rapunzel comes down. And Talman says, no, it's happening right now. I'm going to play just in time. I'm going to draw 3 cards. It's happening right now. But the just in time from Talman's side can put, like we saw this game, the Rapunzel into play, but it can also put this 5/5 cards into play that can quest for 2. But I think the most powerful line that he wants to see is actually Jim Hawkins into one of these 12 locations. I mean, how devastating on turn 3 is it going to be a just in time, especially on the play, putting Jim Hawkins in like an RLS Legacy into play, immediately moving Jim Hawkins. So you have this 4/4 evasive of the quest for 2, RLS Legacy with 8 willpower, gaining 2 lore. It's just a ton of just unanswerable lore, at least for a few turns.
You talk about the value of just in timing a Jim Hawkins into a location. That is very board state changing.
Yeah, definitely something that a lot of these decks in the metagame are not going to be ready for. We've been talking a lot about locations are definitely a weak spot in the metagame, but I don't feel like people have really figured out a way to really utilize that. Of course, Ruby Amethyst playing Queen's Castles, but yeah, I mean, this Ruby Amethyst deck is super heavy on the locations, cheating out Jim Hawkins as early as turn 3. This deck is really sweet.
And here's that Jim Hawkins with an RLS.
Yeah, it looks like it just runs away with it. Just too much passive lore, too much lore in play, unanswerable. And Talman Purple's going to take this match 2 games to 3 as well. Hope we get to see some more of this deck throughout the weekend.
Yeah, that was a real treat. Just even getting to see kind of the end of that match, seeing the power of how quick that was to get all of those locations out, to get the Rapunzel, the draw power, very strong.
Well, that does it for round 3 for our matches. Stay with us shortly. We're going to do an interview with one of our round winners. We will be right back. All right, we are back here at the Charlie's Collectible Show, Lorcana 10K weekend, here with one of our round 2 winners, Talman Purple. Just tell us a little bit about what we just saw.
Well, I decided to bring an innovative strategy that I sat at home for the last week with my nephew, who just moved in with me. He just got into the game, former Magic player, and he said, take it and play it. So we did. We did get lucky enough to get there. I'm super excited to be here, happy to be here with everybody. Getting to see all the 20 lore guys is insane. The deck does have some spice in it. I'll just say this as a teaser. Obviously, you got to see quite a bit of it, but locations. It's been a thing. It is back. At least we're trying to get it there.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking a lot recently just how, like, a weak spot in the format is locations in general, and I don't think anybody has really expanded on that enough. Obviously, Ruby Amethyst playing Queen's Castle, it's like the best location in the game, but nobody's really, like, taking it to the full extent, so it's really exciting to see Jim Hawkins in a bunch of locations. Without having to spill any of the beans on the whole list, and just some of the lines that we saw, I really like the turn 2 Mother Gothel, and then people are like, okay, I've got 2 turns to answer this before Rapunzel guns down, and then we see the just in time just jump out of there. So how's just in time been for you in the deck?
Just in time has been an absolute monster. It's an MVP. It's an all-star. This will date back to set 2, where I was playing green yellow Mufasa with just in time and 25 drops. It was the only deck that I had a super win percentage against the mythical creature of red purple. And it had like an 85% win rate in that format. So I kind of really wanted to keep evolving with that card. And it took a while to get there. The set 3 didn't really have the ability to do so. But right now, I feel the format is in such a place that you can thrive on that, because other decks are taking their time with red, blue, and blue steel to ramp up, where they're taking a few turns off to get there. And then you have your green steel Bucky deck that they have a whole bunch of little guys that do effective things. But if I can just innately go turn 2, 2-drop or location, turn 3, just in time Hawkins location, it's almost detrimental to the majority of decks because there's no clear-cut answer.
Well, that's really exciting. Good luck to you in the rest of the tournament. Hopefully, we'll see some more rounds from you. That'll do it for round 2 for our 10K Lorcana tournament. We'll be back for round 3 shortly.
Thank you, man.